Welcome to episode 6. So we had to take a little break. We did episode 5. Some things came up with my health, but we are back at it. And today we are going to jump right into it because I got some things on my mind, baby. When I tell you, life has just been lifing, but that's okay because this is what this is for. And this is, remember I told you guys, this is for me as well, because I really need to sometimes be able to talk things out. And I feel like this is going to be good. So the first thing that I do want to say is I do want to, as always, thank you guys for the continued support, the pushing, just being patient with me while I figure this out, because unfortunately we cannot predict our health sometimes. There's a lot of things that we can do to try to control it and try to make sure it stays in a good space, I guess. But I'm doing much better, so I appreciate that truly from the bottom of my heart. But I'm going to jump right into it. So today's episode, we are going to cover healing. Don't run. I feel like every time I tell y'all what we're going to cover, I just run away. Don't run. Come back. You need to hear this. I promise. The same way that I need to hear it. But we're really just going to go over what it means to me, what my healing process has been like. I only have 30 minutes to do so. It may have to be another episode because, my God. No, but seriously, we're just going to brush over it a little bit, just talk about a few things. And as always, we're going to get into it. And then that'll be it. So, excuse me. I'll start with what my definition. The definition of healing is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. Now, when you think of sound, when I think of sound, I think of sound mind. I got rid of the gum and now I'm choking. I'm sorry. Luckily, I can edit this part out. But either way, I think of when it says becoming sound, I almost feel like becoming whole, but then becoming whole is a little dramatic because sometimes when you heal, you're not whole again. You're just healed from what may have made you not whole. It's a lot, but we're going to get into it. So as always, I'm going to stay on track. I'm not going to get sidetracked. So I have my notes here. And so I'll start with, as I'm like looking up things, seeing what makes sense, how I can gear the episode, and obviously just make it my own. Because sometimes I feel like everything is just so straightforward. This is what it takes to heal, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. Yes, but in this day and age, I don't really think it's not black and white. It's not as straightforward as we would like. And I hate that because I wish it was that way. I wish it was as easy as it seems. I'm sorry, I have to eat a cough drop. My throat is dry. But either way. And so I ran across a quote that said, and this is a good one. I really want you guys to listen and really almost like pick it apart for yourself, because I don't think that I would have been able to word it like this. When I read it, I was like, exactly. That's what we mean. But it's a good one. So it says, healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means the damage no longer controls our lives. I'm sorry. Excuse you? First of all, who are you talking to? Mind your business, because really you've been in my business my whole life. Either way. But no, I literally thought that was a perfect quote because that's absolutely correct. A lot of people think that when you're healing, it's almost like, you know, that the crap phrase, forget. That is the worst phrase I've ever heard of in my life. Nobody forgives and forgets that it ever happened. What they do is they forget, or they put so much other stuff in their mind or their head and fill it with so much other stuff and have horrible coping mechanism or coping skills to where they don't even have time to think about it. So they forgot the stuff that they put in their head. Does that mean that it's good stuff? No. Does that mean that it's healthy stuff? Absolutely not. No one forgets what caused them to need to heal. Ever. I don't care. Listen, I will go to war about that. It's not possible. And if you say you did, you're absolutely lying. If you want to say it to make it seem like, oh, I'm just such a better person because I forgot that even happened to me. No, you didn't. You just tricked your mind into thinking that it never happened so that you would stop suffering. Whoa. So the reason why I can say that is because, baby, I done that multiple times for multiple reasons. Multiple trauma. That's not, either way, multiple traumatic experiences. We'll leave it at that. But that's not how that works. So it's healing is a way to move forward. Healing is a way to move forward and almost like take your power back. Take your, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not ownership. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you're taking it back. Whatever caused you to lose your self-esteem, to lose your sense of self-awareness, to lose your sense of, what's the word? Being funny, to lose your sense, anything that caused you to lose a sense of a part of you, anything like that, you have to heal from. And whether it be small, whether it be big, it's something that has to happen. And a lot of people choose to just pat it down so far until you really stop thinking about it, because there's so much other stuff that's probably happened since then, because you're trying to cope and deal with something, and not deal with something that happened. So it's a lot. But I said all that to say, I absolutely, and this is, again, you guys know, I always say this is absolutely my opinion. This is how I feel based on my personal experiences. And this is what works for me. Do you know what did work for me a couple of years ago? Acting like it never happened and saying that I forgot my traumatic experiences. It doesn't work, but that did work for me back then, because I felt like that was my only option. I didn't want to go to therapy and talk about my childhood, or talk about how I didn't have this, or I didn't have that, or this person wasn't there, or that person. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just be happy, raise my kid, be with whoever I was going to be with, have friends, make money, and just live life. But what happens when you do stuff like that is that there's triggers daily will occur. It doesn't matter if it's somebody sitting on the bench and they look like somebody that you had a traumatic experience with, or you run into somebody at the drive-thru and they have an accent like somebody that it's gonna happen. And I hate it, because we're human and the mind is just, it's a crazy thing. But if you've healed from it, that trigger or whatever used to be a trigger, typically it's no longer a trigger, which is where you realize I'm healed. And that's where a lot of people need to get to, and a lot of people need to be. And I'll be very honest, 1,000%, baby, I'm nowhere near healed from everything that I need to be healed from. But I will tell you that I've tried my hardest, and I'm still trying my hardest to heal from things that I need to heal from day to day. I'm still trying, because it's, again, it doesn't just go away. So in my day-to-day walk, in my walk with God, in my walk with my friends, my walk with my spouse, there are literally things that I have to do every day to ensure that I don't take that step back. And it's on me. It's not on anybody else, because I've already taken those steps to heal. So how dare I say, oh man, I did what I was supposed to do. I'm going to go backwards because I don't feel like putting in the work today. Don't get me wrong. There are going to be days that you don't feel like putting in the work. It is absolutely draining. But the outcome is always going to outweigh that, though. And it may not seem like that when you're in it. When you're in it, bro, it's almost like, if you think about, not even 6 feet under, I'd say 12, 24, 36 feet under. You would think that you would never make it out. Not possible. Give up on me. Just leave me down here. I'll figure it out. Or won't. And we'll just go from there. So, like, it really be like that. And I feel like a lot of people don't want to admit that sometimes it gets like that, or they don't want to admit that sometimes they're overcome with emotions, or overcome with, you can be healing from something that happened 25 years ago. Ooh, let me not. You can heal from something that happened 35 years. It don't matter how long. If it hurt you, or if it put you in a predicament, or it made you feel uncomfortable, or it altered your life in any kind of way, you can heal from it whenever you want to heal from it. Nobody gets to tell you, oh, you should have healed from that long. That happened so long ago. You should have been healed from that. Who are you? Baby, that's not how that works. But you have to realize that not everybody has your best interest at heart either. And so a lot of times where you think that you're being open to people and explaining to people, hey, this is my downfall and this is what I'm having issues with and this happened to me and I just cannot get through it. I cannot heal from it. I cannot forgive them. I cannot. They don't care. They just want the best version of you, however you got to get there. That's crazy work. And you know what you do with people that are like that? You absolutely leave them where you saw them the last time. That last conversation that you had with them, and you realize that, you leave them right there. No beef, There's no issue. You just don't suit me anymore for my healing journey. So, and I will say that all of this was triggered. I wouldn't say triggered, but I had a conversation with a family member, and that just brought up, when you're trying to explain to people or trying to help them or trying to give them advice, it almost brings up emotions in you where you remember if they're at a point and you were at a point where they're at a time in your life, it makes you think about it. And then, but it also makes you think of how you overcame it. And so this is what triggered this episode. And I say this, I actually just made a video today. People need to hear it. People need to hear how you came up out of there. Because a lot of, believe it or not, a lot of our stories are almost exactly the same. I don't want to admit it. I don't want to talk about it. We don't have to exchange stories. We don't have to, but let's talk about how we move forward. Let's talk about how I'm struggling today. Let's talk about how my feelings are still hurt from when I was 12 years old. Let's talk about how the people that I trusted to take care of me, or the people that were supposed to take care of me, or the people that I just knew were going to let me down. Let's talk about how that still affects me at 36. I can talk about it. I had years of hatred, years of just animosity, just resentment, just heavy. When I tell you the weight that I have now, baby, the heaviest thing is my body. And that's happy way, baby, but it comes to a point in time in your life where you can no longer carry stuff. You can no longer hold on to stuff because it's going to, and I feel like I mention this in every episode, it is going to weigh you down to where you're going to wake up one day and be like, I can't do anything. I'm literally in the bed and I cannot get up. It's so heavy. I can't get out of the bed. I can't even eat. I can't even shower. It get like that. It really does. And as much as we as humans want to put our best foot forward and be there for this person and be there for you. Be there for that inner child that didn't get treated right. Be there for that inner teenager that was bullied but had nobody to talk to about it. Be there for that 21-year-old who had a kid and had absolutely no idea how to be a mother. Be there for that person before you can ever try to be there for somebody else who may be going through the exact same thing that you were going through at the time. You have to show up for them. You have to show up for you. And I feel like that this is overlooked. We're just in a place where everything is just go, go, go. Hurry up and heal. You need to hurry up and grieve. Hurry up and get this over with. You still feel it? Absolutely. If you want to tell me how to feel, baby, please walk a mile in my shoes. I would even say a yard in my shoes, please. And we're not going to start from here. We're not going to start at 36 when it looks a little polished. We're going to start at 7. We can take it back to 3, or we can fast forward to 11. What do you want to do? You see, it takes a lot more, and that is forgotten sometimes. I kind of sidetrack. But either way, I'm wrong. I'm reeling it back and I'm reeling it back in. All right, so I'm reeling it back in. Give me just a second. So when I think about healing, I would say today, when I think about healing, it doesn't scare me. When I think about healing, I really think about growth. I really think about happiness. I think about what life should be. I think about where I want to be in life. If you ask me what healing was or what it meant to heal, I would even say 5 years ago, maybe even 4, bro. And I'm being honest, 4 years ago, I feel like I almost hit rock bottom. And there's a lot of times where I had regret of not trying to heal or not putting in the work sooner, because I can't explain this feeling. You really just have to see it and feel it for yourself. But I will say that I did have a turning point. So there was growing up in this little slight personal moment that I will share, because I told you guys I'm going to be transparent. This is my podcast. It's not going to be directly about me, but I'm always going to share how I got here or what it took for me to get here and what it really looks like. But a lot of people know that I wasn't raised the traditional way. I guess the traditional way is your mother and your daddy in the house. I wouldn't say married would be traditional, but yeah, mommy and daddy were not in the house. I was raised a mixture of my mom, my grandma, custodians. I wouldn't consider them foster parents, but And then I was in foster care. And then my older teenage years, I was raised by one foster parent. Well, foster parents, she's married. But either way, it wasn't what you would think, right? And so as I grew up and as I started realizing that there was a little trauma, there was maybe a lot of trauma, but when I went to the military and things like that, it was a lot of, I'm doing this. Oh, wait, I'm hurting. I got to do this. I'm doing this. I'm sad today. Shoot. I'm doing this. I'm doing it daily. I'm lashing out. I'm angry. I'm not seeing where the changes need to be made. But when it did come to a point where I'm like, I'm raising a kid, at the time I was married, I tried to start tried to start the healing process. And I found a really good therapist. I found a great therapist. She was she was dope. And the problem with therapy nowadays is that if I come to you and I tell you that I know that my problems that exist right now are rooted from childhood trauma moving on up to adulthood, right? It does not make sense to me to start on my day to day. And so the first thing that she did cracked me wide open. Cracked me out, snotty. We're talking about childhood. Anybody that knows that it was rough. I'm not saying that I didn't have the things that I needed. I had food. I was always fed. My grandma always had me. He had me looking nice. There just was not a lot of stability as I got older. And so it kind of took a toll. I started acting out. Certain things happened. But with me being in the system, it was almost like you just have to keep going. So there's no time to focus on what's happening to you because one, you're either moving to a new home or we have to adjust because we're putting you into a home with two other teenagers and you have to adjust to that because you're still an angry teenager and you hate everybody and you're still trying to figure out why nothing is going right in your life. It was a lot. And so when I went to therapy with her, I didn't even realize how hurt I was. I didn't realize how hurt I was by people's actions towards me. And so when you start to really peel it back, when you start to really understand that you have feelings, you have emotions, you deserve to be treated a certain way, it's almost like you get upset and then you hurt because 98% of the time I didn't deserve to be hurt. So I'm going to move on because we're not doing this today. Maybe another day, but not today. I said all that to say it's important on how you attack your healing process. I went in, I didn't really have a plan. It's not up to me to come up with a plan, but she dove right into where the hurt started. And we came up with a plan. And we worked at that plan. But the problem was she got pregnant and she left. She got pregnant. She went on maternity leave. I'm so glad that she had her baby, but I was pissed. So I'm literally in the middle of my healing process. I'm finna kick this childhood trauma crap so I can live my life, raise my daughter, be a good wife. And she left. I didn't mention to y'all that I had abandonment issues as a kid. Growing up, I wouldn't even say as a little kid, period. So I was triggered. Now, fast forward a few years, when I look back, I realized I ran because I was triggered because she left me, bro. But I didn't even it's not even saying it out loud. It sounds so crazy. The lady had to go have her baby. There's nothing that I could have done to prevent that from happening. And I absolutely could have probably adjusted to somebody else or transferred to somebody else. But the space that I was in where I barely had enough to even begin the healing. But I was holding on because we had that bond and we had built that and worked on that. So that was traumatic. But I made it traumatic because I wasn't ready. I thought I was, but I wasn't. And that's okay. And I said all that to say, I'm reeling it back in. I said all that to say that if you are not ready to fully heal or you're not ready to fully commit, that is okay as well because I got to write all this down. You have to acknowledge that you even need to heal first. That is the first step. You have to acknowledge that. If you don't even know that you need to heal, but you just acting out of hate and just being mean to people and just you can't love anybody and you can't get close to anybody and you just crying all the time. You don't know why you crying. You wake up, you upset. Because it happens. Don't act like y'all wake up upset and didn't know why you was upset. Don't be acting like it's just me, because it ain't just me. Y'all not finna make me just feel like it's just me. But that is okay as well. But you have to acknowledge it. At least the minimum, acknowledge it. And then you can start from there. Boom. All right. I may need to heal from a few things. Hey, I may need to heal from abandonment issues. I may need to heal from childhood trauma. I may need to heal from people coming in my life and leaving, even though they told me they wouldn't leave, but then they left. So for majority of my whole life, if I felt like you was finna leave, I just left anyway. So that's traumatic. But that was my coping mechanism. And that was a horrible coping mechanism. It sounds so bad. And when I think about how I used to be with people, I feel like you probably could text me wrong. And I'd be like, oh, no, they mad. Let me go ahead and block them. What? That doesn't even make any sense. But an unhealed mind, a trauma-induced, it can make you think anything. And you really will do anything to protect you. Or in your mind, you're protecting yourself. I'll say it like that. And most times, you don't need protection. You just need to heal. That's it. And so, I would say during your healing process, and I'm going to try to wrap it up because I feel like I've been rambling, but I feel like this is good. But either way, during your healing process, there's a few things that you also have to remember. Set boundaries. I don't care. Set the boundary. Tell them you don't want to talk. Tell them they're triggering you during your healing process, and you will get back to them when you are able to not be triggered by them because they're causing you to go backwards. Set the boundary. If they can't respect the boundary, they're not meant to be on your walk anyway with you. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of hard to hear. It was hard for me to hear as well. However, I benefited from it. Now, do I still go back and forth sometimes when I set boundaries and people question it? Absolutely, because I do feel like people have emotions, and sometimes you have to realize that people are not where you're at. They may not be as healed as you either. The problem is that I am not going to sit here and compromise my healing journey because you're not ready. That doesn't mean that I don't care about you. That doesn't mean that I hate you. That doesn't mean I just can't compromise that. And whenever you're ready, that's perfectly fine, and I'll support you in that. But let's not make it an excuse to act the way that you act because you're not ready and I am. No. That's when you choose you. That's not saying treat anybody differently. That's not saying, oh, you're acting funny because I'm not ready to do this. It's not acting funny. But if everybody literally made excuses for everybody, who would ever heal? Who would ever be the bigger person? Who would ever take the steps that it takes to actually forgive people and move forward and stop using things against people and things like that? It will be a never-ending circle, just never ending, over and over and over and over. And one thing about it, at 36, don't judge. At 36, one thing I will not find myself I will not find myself in today is a never-ending circle that does me no good. So a never-ending circle that is just nothing but goodness, you always find me in. I'm always going to find it because I absolutely need that in my life. A never-ending circle of just traumatic argument, not talking, angry attitude, you won't find me in it because that's not me anymore. It's not. I can be the bigger person. I can also understand that was me at one point, and I can respect the fact that if you say, oh, she used to be like that, you're correct. I will tell you, you're absolutely correct. That was me. People have to change, and sometimes people don't realize also that you're trying to change, and so in the middle of you trying to change, they're downing your change. It's crazy to me. Excuse me. I'm almost done with this cough drop, sorry. But I said all that to say, and I've said a lot, I feel like heal for you. Your healing journey should be for you, and then directly after that, your loved ones. Because an unhealed you is not safe. It is not mentally smart. It's not physically smart. An unhealed person won't eat, probably won't sleep, probably will lose their job because they're late to work all the time because they're sleepy, or they're not doing their job correctly. Whatever the case may be, there's just a lot of things that can happen. Just heal yourself. What's the worst thing that can happen? you live a life that doesn't have much trauma in it. Whoa, that's big. Seriously. No, give it a try. But that's all I have. I'm sorry, that kind of tried to take me there, but we're not going to go there. But I appreciate you guys listening to me yap on. But I'm really serious about what I'm saying. I really want people to get serious about. I had a conversation with a family member the other day. Do it for you. There are some times where people are going to be people. They're going to be them and them to be them. Let them. But what you can change is you. And what you can change is your reaction to them being them, because that's who they always are. What happens when you change you? I don't know. Either way, every Monday, Lord's willing, every Monday, because it's been rough. I got my injection tomorrow. We're going to be okay, though. We're going to pray about it. The last one went okay. We're going to be okay. But Lord's willing, I will see you guys next Monday. Don't forget to check out the 5 previous episodes, and then including this one, so you can get to know me a little bit, to see what I'll be talking about, and then just look forward to the next episode next Monday. So I hope everybody has a great week, and talk to you later. Bye.